Hello and welcome. It is September 2024, and it is time for the I Ching reading. So, for this next reading, this is going to be from September 7th through October 7th. The month is the Yin Water Rooster. So, just to give you a head start on what this kind of feels like. So, Yin Water, the qualities on that are it's adaptable. Think about the mist, the gentle rain, and it's so wonderful when you've got this gentle rain coming down and nourishing the earth. It is excellent for bringing new ideas to life. Like just plants grow, well, so do ideas. It's very adaptable because again, you want to make sure that you're not washing away the seeds like you do with a big waterfall. And because it is kind of just that mist, think about clouds and because clouds really are just floating mist. And how much do we love looking at the different shapes in the clouds? So it is very artistic. So we're going to feel a lot of creativity, a lot more easygoing this next month. It's also great for communication, which is awesome since we just got out of Mercury retrograde. The other thing, though, to be aware of that when your water element is out of balance, you can also find yourself, well, staring at the clouds a little too long, losing focus, lacking consistency. Those are things to be aware of. That can all lead you to feeling rather moody. And again, the month of the rooster energy is, well, it's a little forceful. It has kind of a self-promotion aspect to it. It's very decisive. I mean, when that rooster cock-a-doodle-doos, you're not going back to sleep. It is time to wake up. Let's see, so it is the 10th. Make sure I'm getting this right. Yeah, the 10th animal in the Chinese Zodiac sign. So it is about justice. It's about organizations. So, a lot of people like to talk about spring cleaning. I'm a big fan of making sure that you've got everything organized before you go into the winter months. So what kind of projects are you looking to accomplish? These are this is where sometimes this push-pull of that yin water artistic little, hey, we're going to just go with the flow kind of a thing, with the more rigid rooster's need for, okay, let's organize things. We're going to put things in a place. We're going to get a system going. There might be a little bit of that push pull, but when the two are working together, it is a glorious thing. So the I Ching combination of the trigrams for this is card number 53. It is called development. The words, as you can see on the bottom, say gradual progress, continuity, slowly but surely, adaptability, and a time-honored approach. The image on this, for those who aren't able to see it, it's really just a lovely design in the middle of several concentric circles, and in the very center is a three-pronged circle. It kind of looks like a little bit of a wheel. So it's that gradual process. You're just progress. You're just taking one step at a time, moving forward. Some of the book that I use is the Tao Oracle. And to give a little bit more information on this, it's when people are coming together, it talks a lot about how it takes a bit to kind of get in step. And there's been so many changes in the world the past couple of weeks and months. I mean, we'd only have to look at AI and the political scene and just trends, fashion trends. I mean, don't look to me for being a fashion icon because I have my favorites and I just keep going back and wearing them. Um, but it says here, whatever your chosen direction is, whether with another or alone, it's wise in times of development to keep your attention in the present moment and avoid dreaming of the future. The more you can stay with what is, the less likely that you will be thrown off balance by the unexpected. Stumbling, however, inevitably comes with any learning process. So keep your cool in spite of delays or setbacks. There are times when you might be tempted to throw up your hands in disgust and bellow, I quit. But storming off the dance floor and slamming the door behind will cut off from a vital learning experience before you get into the swing of it. And the bigger loser you will be. So there are going to be challenges that are going to come up this month. Be ready for them and know that this rooster energy that it is going to support you, and that yin water element is there to help nurture you as you are starting new things. Now, again, the clarifying cards, they're always so fascinating to me. I mean, I really work hard at shuffling these guys, and yet they still all seem to go together. So this card, the first one is number 63, completion. We just finished with the regular Olympics. We now have the Paralympics going on. The image on this card is that of an athlete racing to victory, breaking the tape. It's so exciting when the person wins and you see the celebrations, and then you see the other people who maybe did not. But the cards on, the words on this are final attainment, victory, a crescendo, a job well done, perfection, peak for performance, and prudence. I heard a story about Olympians and how there's any elite athlete and how there's this inevitable letdown after the victory, after the high. It's like, oh my gosh, I did it. Okay, wait a minute. What's next? So and that works with pretty much any profession. I used to be in sales many years ago, and you get this high, like, oh my gosh, I just got this enormous order. Yay, let's celebrate. And less than a couple of days later, you're handed a new quota for your next month. And you're like, oh, well, I guess that celebration was short-lived. So the completion, so it says here, breakthroughs are a part of any continuum, and they can occur in both small and great ways. When you have achieved any kind of peak, it's wisest to direct your energies towards returning to middle ground in a relaxed and natural way. Attaining the heights always challenges our mental and physical limits, if for no other reason than the fact that increased exposure means increased vulnerability. If you slack off now before you have fully comprehended all of the implications of your position, the situation can degenerate, and what seemed glorious can begin to distort and break down. It would be a pity to have come so far only to realize that you've created a nightmare. Okay, so now we have two cards in a row basically saying, be careful that to not quit before you're finished. All right, so you hear this theme. Okay, so this is all coming together. Now, the focus line on this one is the number one. And this, again, is about the internal, mentally digesting this and really getting it so that it hits you at the core level. It says, when the pressure is on, it can be tempting to bail out just at the most critical moment. Again, continuing to reinforce that. Don't do it. You've got this far by holding firm to your vision, and it would be a kind of an inner betrayal of your own self to jump out of the fire just before you're fully cooked. Okay, we're in Texas, at least I'm in Texas, and the summertime is slowly starting to cool off, and we're beginning to have those little, I say cooler temperatures because we're no longer 109, we're only like 94. I think I'm fully cooked, but I digress. Says, even if things seem a bit out of control, take a deep breath and remember that the events that are happening now are the fruits of what you set in motion earlier. The events that are happening now are the fruits of what you set in motion earlier. So if you don't like the situation that you're in now, take a look at what you've done in the past. Have you been working to your advantage? Are you avoiding things? If something's not working out, are you just running off and trying to find another job, another partner, another city? Or are you able to take a look at, maybe I'm the one who's making the decisions that don't need to be made in that way. Do I need help to look at things a different way? I can help with that, but so can many other people. Okay, so the next card that is the clarifying card is, let me get my thing over here settled. Number so number 25. It's called Innocence, and it has an image of an adult with a little baby sitting in a lotus blossom that is centered around their third eye. So it's that reclaiming of that mental innocence, remembering who you are as a child. The words on the bottom here are a trusting nature, originality, spontaneity, open-heartedness, simplicity, and the unexpected. Yay, unexpected. So many things are, I'm of the era where the Monty Python skit about nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. So anytime I see unexpected, that's what goes through my head. Giving you a little bit of an idea of, how my brain cells work together. But here's the thing with the innocence. It is not being gullible. This is not about gullibility or naivete. Innocence is that ability to bring back that sense of awe and wonder, and dare I say, joy. It's about looking at, how is the world working for me? How is this, even this negative situation, how is this going to end up a positive for me? What is it? How is the world conspiring to bring the good to me? And when you change up that attitude, even some of the really, big piles of poop, you can take a look at that and think, oh, well, maybe there's a pony around here somewhere. I just have to open my eyes and look for it. It says here, if you find yourself rationalizing your behavior, trying to cover your tracks in order to save face, it is time to renew your acquaintance with your innocent self. Only by trusting life, being open and available to it, can you ever taste delight. And being delighted simply means joyfully experiencing the unexpected. Now is the time to approach each situation as it comes and be responsive to even the most subtle influences, not out of the need to manipulate, but out of sheer vitality, enthusiasm, and sensitivity. If your innocence has been taken advantage of, the mature response is the resilient bounce back quality that is only ever strengthened by adversity. Mistakes made out of innocence are natural and are the building blocks of wisdom to come. There's no point in regretting mistakes. It will only feed the defensive armor of the ego. The focus line on this one is number 5. So again, we're firmly in the middle of that external world part of the hexagram. So this is kind of the circle of people that you're with and how you are interacting with more of your day-to-day activities. It says, life is a gradual flowering that unfolds the unique potential of every being and unfailingly supports that uniqueness in realizing its divine nature. In the East, the realization of divine nature is called enlightenment, hence the lotus flower on the image. It is the return to innocence after a fall from grace. It is to be twice born, once as Gautama and then as Buddha, once as Jesus, then as Christ. The return to innocence is the birthright of every human that has ever been and will ever be nurtured by life on this earth. Trust that this inner unfolding will take you through the present times and let nature take its course. I have a lot of people, a lot of good friends who are absolutely finding themselves wrapped around the axle around some of the injustice that they see in the world. This rooster energy is likely not going to ease that sense of injured morality. Um, but the yin water will start to cool down some of that so that easier focus, it'll be easier to focus on creative ways to achieve the goals that one has. It is also likely to for those who aren't willing to sit with their frustration, it might be that innocence might be a little harder to come by. Okay, so the final card is waiting. Okay, so this card, for those who cannot see, it looks as if it is so this is a woman. It's a silhouette of a woman. She is naked. She is very largely pregnant. Uh, but what's fascinating is her hair appears to be the night sky filled with stars, and her earring appears to be a crescent moon. It's just lovely. And she's standing, or has the lower half of her body is partially obscured with what looks like clouds in a night sky. The words on this are perseverance, take care of essentials, restraint, leave well enough alone, moderation, and right timing. Right timing. Um, that is such a hard one. It's that waiting until it's time. That's why I believe that it was very helpful to have the image of the pregnant woman. The baby knows when it's time to come out most of the time. Um, there are always little problem or challenges here and there. So sometimes, but a lot of times it is, there's not real whole lot you can do to rush that process. And because this card is here, that should tell us that there may be some things that people are really wanting to have happen, but it's not quite yet that time. The talking a lot about nurturing your inner strength, having the need for inner work or a personal practice that prepares you for the birthing of a new, being willing to step back from that desire to push forward. So it says here that life is not working against you now. In fact, life never works against any of us. We are challenged in myriad ways throughout the whole of our lives to find a sincere yes to what life provides. But this needs maturity, and maturity means being able to take a detached overview that is concerned not primarily with outcomes or goals, but with understanding and awareness in the journey towards them. So keep your outlook positive, keep your body healthy, tend to the ordinary with extraordinary care. By focusing on strengthening your sense of well-being, you will be cooling down and redirecting the energy of impatience and aggression toward more creative pursuits. Remember that any obstacles you might encounter are not permanent conditions. Rather, they're life's way of steadying you and bringing you into a more centered state. One of the let me start over again. One of the biggest pieces of advice that I offer my clients is, if they're just so eager to have a certain outcome, there has to be a disconnection from that outcome. So, for example, let's choose something that's maybe not quite as big as, the pregnancy. Although, actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go with that because I have helped many, many women get pregnant by helping them to detach from their need for a pregnancy to make them whole in order to open that space up and be willing to be whole and complete without having a baby. Um, it is so much easier said than done because a lot of times there's a story that comes through that we've inherited, that the only way a woman is complete is to be a mother, and that isn't always the case. That is not the truth for every woman. Um, Sometimes that is, there are many other things that go along with that. But it's even like with men. Sometimes they feel that the only way that they can truly be a man is if they have spawned another human. And is that their truth or is that their program? So there's that little bit of um, it can be sticky. It can be a very thick and tangled web that tells us what we are supposed to want. Um, so this focus line on this card is again number one. So that internal thing you have to address in yourself. It says anticipating problems and working out how to deal with them ahead of time can be useful, but it's not useful now. It's time to accept the fact that there are some things that simply cannot be foreseen. All your attempts to prepare yourself for what you think that is to come will only agitate you and disturb the energy that is better spent in getting your feet on the ground in the here and now. Worrying is praying for something not to happen. And the universe, God, source, whatever, doesn't really acknowledge the not. It's when you're focusing on something that you don't want to happen, you are focusing your attention on that particular outcome. And that's the only one that you're able to have room for. So if you are wanting a certain outcome in November, stressing about, oh my gosh, this can't happen. We can't have that. Oh my gosh, no, no, no. Instead of focusing on how glorious it's going to be when this happens, when this is the outcome, when, maybe it's something about a promotion. Instead of worrying that, oh my gosh, I'm going to get laid off, I'm going to get laid off, I'm going to get laid off. How wonderful it's going to be instead that, oh, look, I'm no longer attached to keeping this job. Instead, I'm now open to receiving something completely different. The waiting is the hardest part, but worrying about an outcome that has not happened yet is simply exhausting you. So I invite you to take this next month. Again, some of these energies are going to be starting to filter in now as I release this video on the 1st. It officially doesn't take effect until September 7th. You've got this entire wonderful Virgo season. I am a Virgo. I embrace it. But you have some time to grow some things, to take charge, to identify areas where perhaps you've been a little bit, uh, visiting injustice upon yourself, and see how you can reacquaint your heart with your desires and with kindness and grace, and keep going one step at a time. Don't quit. As much as you want to finish this journey, you have to have patience. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. I greatly appreciate all of my subscribers, and I will talk to you next month.